Welcome to another Ask Derek edition of the Entrepreneur Ignited podcast.
Do you have questions about launching and growing your online business?
He's got answers. Just ask Derek.
No BS, no fluff, no hype. Just straight answers to your questions.
Now, here's your host, Derek Gale.
Welcome to the Entrepreneur Ignited podcast. This is your host, Derek Gale, and this is another Ask Derek edition. And in this episode, I want to answer a question that I get all the time from people that are just getting into the world of internet marketing, trying to start business on the internet, maybe part-time, maybe full-time. But either way, I know this is a common challenge because I get this question all the time, and that is, how do I stay focused when starting a business on the internet? And guy, in this day and age, there's so much stuff competing for our attention. So, let's say I have a job today and, I get home from work and maybe I got stuff. I only have X amount of time per week that I can use to build a business on the internet, to start creating this income. And so there's this transitionary period where your time is being pulled in a lot of directions. So when you sit down at your computer to start building, to start creating, to start working on that internet business, how do you get the most out of that time when there's all this other stuff vying for attention? And then once you're out there, how do you stay focused on the goals that you've set, not be distracted by all these other opportunities that are trying to attract you? And it's funny, I call it entrepreneurial ADD, okay? And as an entrepreneur that's actually ADD, I can really appreciate this is, as an entrepreneur, there's always these opportunities that are like, hey, check this out, or hey, you should do this, or hey, you should do this. And it's hard to figure out, what do I do? What do I focus on? So look, I know it's a challenge. And so what I want to do is I want to share a couple tips, tools, and strategies to really help you drill down, to really help you focus, to get the most done in the time you have, to achieve the results you want as soon as possible. Okay, so again, I should also mention, this is a video podcast. So if you're listening to this on iTunes, you can head over to my YouTube channel at youtube.com/Derek Gale, and you can see all the video episodes of Ask Derek. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you head over to my podcast on iTunes, or if you're Android, on SoundCloud, subscribe there, and you can have these delivered automatically. Listen to them anywhere on your way to work. So now let's dive into the 3 tips I have to help you get more done and stay focused. All right. Now, the very first thing you need to do if you want to be successful at staying focused and not being distracted is create an environment that promotes focus. And so what is a good environment? Well, look, if you're sitting down at the kitchen table with your laptop and the kids are running around and the dog's barking and people are coming in and they're talking to you and the TV on in the background, I can just about guarantee, unless you have some superhuman ability to focus and block noise out, that you are not going to be as productive as you need to be. The very first rule in becoming an entrepreneur is creating a productive environment where you can focus. Now, I know not everybody has the opportunity to dedicate a room as an office where nobody can bug you, but what I would do is encourage you to find a quiet place to work. And then once you've found that quiet place to work, to create an environment that is distraction free. And as I said, I'm actually ADD, so this is very important for me because if I'm sitting there at my computer and there's all these distractions on my desk and my workspace is a mess, my mind can't focus. And I know some people are better at blocking that out, but keeping a clean, distraction-free work environment, blocking any distractions out of your peripheral vision so you can sit down and you can focus. Make it quiet, make it a distraction-free. And then your desktop is another place that has tons of distractions on it. So you really want to make sure that your computer is also configured so that you're not constantly being pulled away and distracted by notifications and pop-ups and Facebooks and stuff like that. So when you sit down to focus on building your business, block out distraction. If you can't get rid of noise, put some headphones on. Okay? Block that out. Put some earplugs in. Block that noise out. Shut down Facebook. Shut down your email. And focus on the stuff that's going to be meaningful. If you're writing a blog post, make sure you set aside a maximum amount of time and ignore everything till you get that done. Create an environment for productivity. Then, my second tip for you is to set goals. And, most people think of goal setting in terms of, okay, where do I want to be in 5 years from now or 1 year from now? What are my goals? Every year people set New Year's resolutions, and New Year's resolutions are pretty much goals, right? What do I want to achieve this year? But for me, as an entrepreneur, people ask me all the time, how do you get so much done? You have all these businesses. You have all these websites. You're doing podcasts. You're doing videos. You've got businesses in other niche markets. You're speaking in events. And you spend your summers in Whistler, you take multiple vacations every year, etc. How do you do that? And the answer is A, I create an environment, but B, every single day I'm setting goals. So I have a goal setting system, and I teach that goal setting system to my members. Maybe I'll do a podcast on that one day. But the fact is you need to find a goal setting system that works for you. And not just a goal-setting system that's setting goals out for a year or the quarter or the month, but literally every day you're sitting down at the beginning of the day and saying, what is the most important thing I need to do today that's going to drive my business forward, that's going to help me achieve my long-term goals? So that whenever you do sit down to create something, there's no question about what you need to work on. Because it's clear that this thing is the most important thing. Now, there are people that follow what is called the one thing philosophy. I know lots of entrepreneurs do, and that is each day, what is the one thing that they have to get done? The one most important thing that's going to drive their business forward. Everything else waits until that gets done. Personally, I always have more than one thing on a day-to-day basis. But on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis, on an annual basis, I never have more than 4 or 5 key things that I'm focused on. If it's more than that, I probably won't have enough time. And if you're starting your business in your part-time, in your spare time, trying to focus and get something meaningful done is difficult. So again, set goals every single day. What are the things that you have to get done? Nothing else matters. Block out all the noise. Focus. Which brings me to tip number 3 for staying focused, and that is, and this is a really important one, it's accountability. Human nature. Human nature. It can be a real bitch sometimes. And some people, and I have friends that are so uber focused. If you give them a goal, they don't need anybody to hold them accountable. They will do everything in their power to hit that goal. Very myopic, they will just focus and get it done. Most people aren't wired that way though. But here's the deal. As an entrepreneur, there's nobody that you're reporting to. Nobody that's going to say, hey, you have to get this done by this date. So when you're getting started and you're trying to build your business, maybe in your spare time while you have a job doing this and that, you have to find ways to hold yourself accountable. Because if you don't, life will get in the way, this will come up, that will come up. And it's easy to say, well, that can wait, that can wait, that can wait. And until you make this a priority, set goals, and hold yourself accountable, there's always going to be stuff getting in the way. So, when you're getting started, you need to make yourself accountable. And some of the easiest ways to do that are, first of all, come up with your goals for the year, for the quarter, for the month. And then tell anybody you'll listen. Here's my goals. Here's what I'm doing. Just speaking and sharing those goals with family and friends adds a whole new level of accountability. And you know how I know it does is because I meet lots of new entrepreneurs who say, I have goals, but I don't want to tell anybody what they are. And I'll say, well, why? And they'll say, because what if I don't hit them? Haha, exactly. So if you do tell them, the pressure's on because you want to hit those goals, right? Another great strategy for accountability is to find what I call an accountability group, or even just an accountability partner. Somebody else that's also an entrepreneur, somebody else that's also in the same space, that's also setting goals. And meet with them on, maybe it's a weekly, but at least a monthly basis to say, okay, here's my goals for the next 30 days. Share your goals with each other. Hold each other accountable. Check in every week. What progress have you made? What progress have you made? And hold each other accountable. And finally, reward yourself. Once you hit those goals at the end of the month, if I get these 5 things done, here's the gift I'm giving myself. Maybe I'm going for a massage, I'm taking myself out for dinner, I'm buying that new headphones I want, whatever it is. But reward yourself. Celebrate it when you win. So hold yourself accountable, but reward yourself when you hit those goals. So guys, there's no secret. There's no magic pill. It comes down to discipline. It's a weird transition from being an employee with somebody telling you every day what you need to do, setting goals, working towards a vision, to being the person that's holding yourself accountable, that's setting your goals, that's solving your problems. It's a shift. If you can successfully make that shift and you can be your own boss, you can drive yourself to hit your goals, you can hold yourself accountable. You can create incredible things. The people that don't make it as entrepreneurs are typically the ones that don't hold themselves accountable, that get distracted, that let life get in the way. You know, until you're willing to make this a priority and to create an environment where you're going to be productive, to set goals, to hold yourself accountable, nobody else can help you. You have to take those first steps. So there you go. There's the answer to how do I stay focused? Hope you learned something.
Thanks for listening to another info-packed episode of the Entrepreneur Ignited podcast with Derek Gale.
For links to all of the resources plus an entire transcript of this episode, go to entrepreneurignited.com/podcast.
Make sure you never miss another episode. Subscribe now on iTunes or SoundCloud.